In this episode, Shannon Mahoney, a longtime women's self-defense trainer and martial artist, joins Brad to talk about the importance of having an immediate response for a wide variety of encounters we may face.
The way you're approaching your classes, tell me a little bit about how this new approach for whatever it is.
I like the it, and it seems to be coming to the forefront that women are wanting an immediate response to an immediate threat. Being where we are, that seems to be what's happening is people are getting bolder. People are in desperate times. Attackers seem to have no filter right now, and women are wanting this immediate response, because I've had conversations in different classes with women saying, I froze, right? Like I froze. And even people talking about everyday circumstances in a conversation with somebody, or at the store, at a checkout, just doing everyday things. I love putting it out there to people. Have you ever had a freeze response? Whether it was in a threatening situation or just a communication where you get stuck, where it's like your nervous system gets flooded with input, right? And so when that happens, our nervous system will actually stop for a second. How can we, in training and in offering the classes that we do, how can we train against that or rework it? Right. So that seems to be the conversation. And I love talking to people about that, because almost everybody I talk to, they're like, oh yeah, I definitely froze. I froze either under a threat, or even just in a confrontational conversation, or even if it's not confrontational, like I said, even at the checkout line at Target, when somebody cuts you off and takes the self-checkout in front of you, or right, something really non-threatening, and you're stopped in your tracks because you can't believe someone just took your spot, or looked at you the wrong way, or whatever it is, and it causes this freeze response. Can we actually train like the way that we do? If I'm offering a class this weekend for 2 hours, can I offer a training that will help women reduce that or get rid of that freeze response, just because they've now had an experience in training, right? So it's an immediate response to an immediate threat.
I think we need to remember that freezing is an entirely natural option for us. We can either flee, we can fight, or we can freeze. And the problem with the freezing aspect is, I talk with a lot of students, and they reveal to me that they're so afraid of being so afraid that they're going to freeze.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, it's a feedback loop that bothers them. And I think you're touching the answer, really. I think when you say, can we train? And that's the answer. The way is in training. So even trained police officers in deadly experiences, they can have disassociated thoughts. They can freeze and do inappropriate type of actions. And I think it is training, because my personal guess is that we don't know what to do unless we've been trained to do something. So it's like it's like the nightmare we all have. You walk into high school or college class and like, oh, by the way, there's a pop quiz right now. And you're like, oh my God, I haven't studied. If you haven't studied, you're going to fail the test. So disassociated thoughts and freezing is a consequence of my brain trying to flip through all the file folders to find the situation that is similar to this. What is my solution to this problem? As I'm flipping through, I've never faced this problem. I have no idea what to do. I actually have, in the first book, I actually have a woman who said, oh my God, it's happening to me. It's really happening, and I don't know what to do. So I think you're on the right track with training. Tell me a little bit more about what you think that training could be.
I think we keep it really simple, and we offer a non-confrontational way to engage. And everything for me goes right back to this hands up, hands out position that you talk about in your book, which is phenomenal, because this can be threatening, non-threatening, or better, it can go from no action to action, right? So this is just which is funny with my hands in the camera, but this is just, if I could tell every single woman how to just put your hands up and out like this, I believe that starts a response, right? And we talk about that 50% of the time, if you just look like you're going to do something, right, in reaction to an attack, the bad guy's going to call it off, right? 50% of the time, they're going to go somewhere else because someone else isn't going to react. So if we just initially even just get women to know, if you just have a physical response to hands up and out, that gives them both a verbal and nonverbal way of either saying back off, or, hey, I need you to take a step back, or I don't know what's going on right now. Just whatever comes to your mind. And that's exactly what the training will provide, is often there is nothing that comes to mind, right? There's nothing that comes to mind and body when you're in that shock of somebody being in your space. So how can we train around that? And it's just that really easy, here's an answer really, really quick, is just hands up and out. No matter what it is, whether it's someone verbally, physically, this creates space between you and them. Then if you put something verbal behind it, fine. If you just or just even the physical act, I can go to a strike, or it just stands my ground and it actually shows that there's something going on here. Does that then cause a tension from the public around you? But it's really just giving someone something to do, something really, really easy. And to me, it's just hands up right out in front of you. And then we train from there.
Wow.
So if there's a wrist grab after that, yeah.
Okay. It starts a chain of things, but it's the initial action that actually allows you to act, because you have something that you've started, and then your brain can connect to the different things that you train them on, right? That's my problem. You don't naturally, a lot of times you don't know naturally what to do because you haven't trained to be combative. Yeah. No, I keep going down that road because it's something that I've heard trainers sometimes say, that don't worry, you're naturally going to go into your warrior princess mode. No, not if you've never trained like that. Mm-hmm. If you've been trained to be a nice girl and to be polite and respect your elders, and you've never been around that. A lot of times in my industry, we say, when we talk with people, they don't get our world. They've never lived in violence.
Right.
And so all of this is completely new. I do want to ask you one other thing too. As we start going down this road, Shannon, training people, how do you feel about this concept that I'm starting to come up with, which is, look, you don't need to learn the answer. You need to learn an answer. How about that?
Yes.
Because, well, I don't know if I have the perfect, and you and I can argue about the perfect technique. Well, have a technique versus the technique. So what would you say? How can I jump on that train? What would you say I should think about going down that road?
I think it starts with a great point that you make in your book about awareness is great. We talk about the mental aspects of self-defense all the time. It's super important that we are aware of our surroundings. Yes. But in our classes, and what I think is going to make a difference in all of this training and making things available for women, it's turning that awareness into action, right? So it's simply, can I go with one action that is my go-to, right? And I think yes, that there is a response. There's multiple, there's a million different responses, and we get lost in all the training. But if I can break it down to just one action, and again, I'm going defensive position, that then can go offensive if I need it to, like that, right? So if that is the the one reaction is whether I'm stand up or whether I'm on the ground. It's what can I do to create and control distance between me and the bad guy? And what can put me in the best position to use my strengths against their weaknesses?
So keep going down the simple training, because what I think I'm hearing you saying is this kind of folds back into your it response, which is like, we need to know what to do right now, not train for 6 months or 6 years to get my black belt. And then, oh, now you know what to do. No, I need to know what to do. Shannon, I need to know what to do right now. When I leave your class, do I know something I could use tonight? Is that kind of what I'm hearing you saying about the direction of training you like to do?
Yes, exactly. So whether it's on a street corner, I'm waiting to cross the street, I'm downtown, or I'm in my suburb and I'm outside in front of my house. Someone approaches me, let's just take that scenario. Someone approaches me and it's just a little bit too close for my comfort, right? Which is one of the very first things I like to address with women is, what is too close for your comfort? Often it's way too it's way too close. People let people get way too close to them before they even respond. And that's why I love that immediate response that I can give a woman is just this hands up and out. And it's not a, oh God, what are you doing? But it's straight out in front of you, like, hey, how you doing? You know, I'm going to control my space right here. And if I can get that, I'll work that immediate response for the first half an hour of the class. If I've got women for 2 hours this Sunday, right? And maybe I'll never see any of them again after that. If I have them for 2 hours, what can I teach them? And that first thing is going to be hands up out in front of them, and both a very, very polite, very like, hey, I don't want any trouble here. I'm not looking for anything. But then if I need to, I've got this back hand loaded. I've got this front hand loaded. I can go to a palm strike. I can go to a shove. I can control distance between me and you with a very simple hands up and out. And whether it gets physical or it just stays with vocal right behind my hands, to me, this is an immediate response, right? And I want women walking around their house to like take a corner and be like, walking into their laundry room, oh, like that, right? Someone comes to their front door, they've got a hand on the door, they've got the other hand out like this. Right? It's just this immediate, what can we give women? And I think it's just an immediate response of creating their space, controlling the distance between you and the bad guy. That's ultimately what I want all of the time, right? So even if it's at the social situation, right, at the company party, or I'm meeting friends out at a restaurant and I'm just walking to the bathroom, it's a very non-threatening atmosphere. It's people that I know, whatever this social situation is, I still have the ability to just hands up out in front of me. Hey, oh, hey, how you doing? Right? Just but if someone comes into that space, they're going to reach this before they reach me. Right? So I think that's where I'm going down this path of a quick class. Can I get women, at my school for 2 hours on a Sunday every couple of months? Great. Give me 2 hours. Give me a half an hour. I'm going to give you an immediate response to someone coming into your space. Then if it hits the fan and you've done everything right, but people are still entering my space, if I have to escalate into that next physical defense for myself, I'm perfectly ready to do that.
I got two things, but Shannon, I don't want to create a fuss. I don't want people to think I'm mean. What would you say to that?
I'd like you to create a fuss, because the way the world is trending, the statistics, the numbers, 1 in 4 women is assaulted or raped in their lifetime. 1 in 4, all of this continues to trend the same way because we keep it this way. We keep that mantra within women of, oh, but I was born a peacekeeper, but I create life. I'm not going to take life. I'm not asking you to take life. I'm asking you to preserve your own life, right? I'm asking you to preserve your safety. I'm giving you the tools to survive. So yes, I understand that you might not want to go down that. If you seek me for training, though, it's all in, right? So if you seek me for training, or I'm coming into your space right now through just us being able to talk about this live, it's yes, I'm urging women to create a fuss, but to create a fuss in a safe way, right? So training's going to offer you that ability to keep yourself safe. Or just listening to us talk about, hey, I just want you to put your hands up. This is very non-threatening. I do it daily with everybody I'm around, right? And I'm a very likable person. I have a lot of friends. I have a lot, right? We have a great time. So, and they don't really even recognize this as a threat, because it doesn't have to be threatening. But what it does is, for my own personal well-being, I'm creating my space. So I'm not telling you to make a fuss. I'm telling you to keep your safe space, right? So your space safe, same way. So you can flip the words. I'm telling you to keep a safe space, and I'm telling you to keep your space safe, right? So if you don't have any kind of action, anything that you do on the daily, then like we talked about, that freeze response is going to be pretty easy for you guys to access.
Perfect. I think that's great information. And thanks, Shannon, for sharing that with us, because I really appreciate you being on, because this is exactly what we want to do with this podcast. Is we want to get this kind of information out in nuggets that you can digest, and you can start thinking about your own personal protection. So thanks again, Shannon. Appreciate it.
Thank you.